NSFW, what is the worst mistake you made while you were horny? When I was 13 I used toothpaste as lube. It started out with a nice warm tingle but soon evolved into the worst cock burning I've ever experienced. Banged a stalker who was finally starting to let up. It made things a lot worse. If you miss a couple days of the pill, it becomes effective as soon as you start taking it again. You don't have to wait a full cycle. Yeah? Let me introduce you to my daughter. I love my daughter and wouldn't trade her for anything. But her existence kinda messed up the whole planning part of family planning. Edit. FFS. People, happy now? Was it really too hard to tell what I meant? I know this story from my mom, but my uncle had to go to the ER room because he got his D stuck in his vacuum cleaner tube. His excuse was that he was vacuuming the carpet naked and it somehow sucked his D stuck. He was 30 at the time. Drove 150 miles thinking I was getting a sure thing. But I've also driven 200 miles for a maybe that paid off. I'll gamble every time. Accidentally sent a D pic to my sister instead of girlfriend. Wasted precious hours edging instead of coming and getting on with my day. Driving around with girlfriend, she told me to pull over somewhere. We found a nice long dirt road that we thought no one would drive by. Turns out we were on private property and the owner of the land pulled up in a truck and caught us and said he was gonna report us after screaming at us. Luckily nothing happened afterwards. I had a girl that liked me, and I didn't like her. She was very nice, but just not my type. One night we were at a party and we hooked up. I was drunk and horny, not in that order. After that she turned very stalkerish. It ended up being a rough few months until she moved on. Worse yet, on the way to the party I promised myself that nothing would happen, but sometimes the little brain gets a veto. Ran out of lotion one day. I refused to beat it dry so I jerked it with shampoo. Didn't wash it off. I thought my cock was going to fall off. Well, making no obstacle of not having a condom. Stuck my D in crazy more times than I care to admit. Even dated one. She wrecked my car, stole my spice rack and exactly one half of my bacon. My mom almost caught me banging my girlfriend over my grandpa's, my dad's did, pool table. No way she wasn't suspicious. Memory is blurry. Something about a coconut. Developed a porn addiction. Ducked on the floor of a disgusting park bathroom. My stepdad had a rule that I can't duck in the house while he's home. So me and my ex made do. The bathroom was disgusting. Lights didn't work. Door didn't have a knob. And there was probably it in the toilet and piss on the floor. Would not do again. Edited. Autocorrect did some funky it to this post. Hitting on a girl. I'll never forget her screams of absolute terror. I've had the classic icy hot on the whiner moment myself. I'm sure the internet has more interesting experiences than that. Back in middle school I'd stay up until at least 1 AM waiting for the HBO Pornos and Girls Gone Wild infomercials to come on. The stupid thing is that I'm paralyzed from the waist down and don't have any sensation in my D to jack off, but my stupid teenage brain would be all hey, stay up real late so we can see some boobs. Put gum on my D and started working it. Got stuck in my pubes and then had to Google how to get it out. Spent way too much on a sex toy, like the toy that connects to your computer and moves with the porn. Not really a mistake but more of a waste of time, but driving 3 hours one way just to go drink with a girl and have a sex was a fun night, but the drive wasn't really worth it. 6 hours on the road total just to get laid. Working with peppers to get that perfect fire for a spicy Thai dinner. I'll let your imagination run wild with that if you forget to wash your hands. Masturbated with soap. Nothing can stop the burning of a soapy urethra. Even pissing to wash it out just makes it worse. Where's that coconut ducking guy? Put my finger in my best mate's girlfriend. One of my lowest moments. Not getting much at home, ex very drunk, ex really bored with life equals one of the most regrettable things I've ever done. It's all okay now though. It was a stupid, regrettable act of idiocy on both our parts. Everyone knows about it, which is a relief. But duck me if I didn't get 6 months of grief about it from my girlfriend. Long-term GF. 2 kids. Experimented with suicide. Didn't try to kill myself, but strung myself up with a few belts to see what happened. 0/10. Even with rice. Driving through a blizzard to Dhaka FWB at 2 AM. I almost flipped my truck and got snowed in at her place for the next day, but whatever, had 6. I thought I'd give Craigslist a shot. A woman had just posted something when I checked, and her no string situation worked for me, and so did her looks. Sent her a message with my photo and we met an hour later. We had sweaty car sex probably 20 times over the course of a week. Never used protection. I was lucky to have walked away from that with no kids and no STDs. I don't even know if she told me her real name. Not horny, but is still dumb and involves porn. I was using my Steam Link to stream while a friend was over. We were bored, and so I decided to show him porn. I thought my monitors were off. Nope, both on. And my PC is in the kitchen, so my sister and grandmother saw it. When I was 16, I slept with a random 14-year-old girl on a cruise ship. Twice. I felt like it afterwards, because I wanted my first time to be special and with someone I love. The sex itself was good, but the depression afterwards was not. To make matters worse, for 2 months before this happened I hadn't been talking to my LDGF. I don't know why. Her account was deleted and she wasn't replying to me. I finally accepted that she must have hated me and went on the cruise. Well, a few months later, she came back. Apparently, her cousin had deleted her account just to be rich, and you know how hard it is to make a second account on Facebook. I felt like it's knowing that I lost my virginity when I still technically had a girlfriend. We're engaged now. Covered my entire body in Vicks Vapor Rub. The tingling felt pretty damn good at first, but after a few minutes became incredibly uncomfortable. No worries, I'll just hop in the shower and clean it off. Well, prior to doing this I had been doing some ass play in the shower for a long time, so the hot water was completely depleted. I only had ice cold water to get this off of me with. Have you ever drank a cold glass of water after chewing some extremely mint gum? Imagine that feeling on every inch of your skin. I slept with an ex's twin, who then got pregnant and had a kid, and that breakup was vicious, but I did get a cute kid from it. Here's a good one. Couple years ago I was at Thanksgiving staying at my grandma's house. Well, I get a little drunk on some beer and everyone heads off to bed. I'm bored and start browsing Tinder, and naturally that led to Reddit, then NSFW subs. So I think, alright, I can hold out, but I had not jacked it in about 3 days, so it's just erosion on nudity in my mincy. I finally cave and went to the upstairs bathroom. Seen as one of the 2 downstairs bathrooms had direct connection to my grandmother's bedroom. The other was claimed by my brother and his wife, so both those bathrooms are no-go wonka zones. I get upstairs and brush my teeth because the beer taste was lingering and I plan on passing out after I milk the snake. But I decide to cover my jerked noises by leaving the water on in the sink. So I'm sitting on the toilet doing my thing, and then right when I finished I notice my feet are wet. Turns out my grandfather was replacing the drains for the sink but never finished before he died. So my uncle just put buckets underneath the sink to catch the water. So in frantic post-orgasmic haste I start soaking up the water. 5 minutes later my uncle walks in on me cleaning up a small pond in his bathroom. Thank God I used the brushing my teeth excuse. Heard all about how I flooded the bathroom the next day because of my proper dental hygiene. TLDR. I flooded my grandma's bathroom while beating my meat. Didn't get caught with my D out though. Got my wife pregnant 5 times. Now we have all these kids. It's a nightmare. While I was 19 my aunt came down from Colombia and paid a visit. Haven't seen her for like 12 years before that. She was looking good. You know the rest. My mistakes somehow revolved around spicy foods. I let my husband finger me while we were cooking dinner one night, and like within 5 minutes it felt like I had duty sent with love directly from Satan himself. Turns out that he hadn't washed his hands thoroughly enough after handling the piri piri sauce. I was grumpy for a bit about that one. Another time, we were having morning roam that ended in a facial for me. My husband had to leave for work shortly after. I was still chilling out in bed while wearing my icing when all of a sudden my face started to burn. I tore into the bathroom and scrubbed my face down and it still felt worse than the worst sunburn I've ever had. Turns out all the hot wings we had eaten recently had affected the acidity of his semen. I spent all day with a wet cloth on my face which was covered in blotchy red areas. Parents were out of town for the weekend. My grandma was still at the house but I figured she wouldn't bother me. Invited my girlfriend over and proceeded to have row 6 in parents' bed. Grandma starts banging on the door shouting, "I know what you're doing, OP. Open this door." We get dressed and exit the room. Grandma make girlfriend go home. Go back to parents' bedroom to grab something and grandma is removing the sheets saying that there's semen all over them. It was pretty much the worst case scenario. Never, and I do mean never, use liquid dish detergent as a choice of lube for a quick rub out. I don't actually know what I did, but apparently it was something because my mom, on one fine day, approached me in the kitchen and told me very sternly that I should lock my door more. To this day I have no idea what she saw. I locked my door though. XGF's little sister is on the list. Try to have a 6 in my brand new Miata yesterday. That car is way too small and almost got caught by security. The best answers will never be seen. Those people are dead or in prison. X's mom caught us fooling around on camera while she was gone for the week. She was surprisingly cool about it and more upset we chose the pool table instead of a bed. Began a FWB type deal with a previously platonic friend who was also a virgin at that stage. Turned out they couldn't deal with that setup as their first time and they ended up becoming super clingy. We didn't stop being friends completely but it damaged the friendship, and things never became what they were again. Dated 2 girls in a row who were hot but crazy. When we broke up, both tried to kill themselves. The first one broke up with me, and when I wouldn't take her back she tried to overdose on antidepressants. Permanent heart damage I'm pretty sure. Second one I broke up with and she used Panadol. She didn't die either, but has duck kidneys. Both of them directly blamed me and it was less than 10 months apart. It was awful. I felt completely responsible. Also I couldn't cope. At the times I was 16 and 17. Duck. I had found out both times at school and had to pretend nothing was up. Point it. Don't stick your D in crazy. Swiping right in my gallery and it's changed from porn to a family photo right before I released a goo. Got a drunken under the scratchy blanket hand job on an international flight from a girl I had been drinking wine with. It was awesome, until we landed and my parents, who had been sitting one row up and across the aisle, let me know that we hadn't been as sneaky as we thought we were. Sigh. I don't even know how to word this without it sounding absolutely ridiculous. Because it's actually absolutely ridiculous. When I was a teenager, a guy convinced me that it would be perfectly okay for him to go a few thrusts with saran wrap as protection. Honestly, how I didn't get pregnant that night remains a damn mystery. Day before Thanksgiving. Was horny. Called over a massage therapist. Paid her $200 and as she was giving me the massage I made a move. Turns out she was actually just a massage therapist. It was a sad jerk off sesh once she left. I boned my ex's friend not 24 hours after we went on a break to try and reevaluate our 6-year relationship, and then caught feels for her friend. This all happened within the last day. Grabbed this girl's butt at a party once over 4 years ago. Now we're engaged. I don't know what gave me this horrible idea, but smearing mint toothpaste over my balls resulted in really chilly, painful balls for a few hours. Taking a break from making habanero hot sauce to jerk off, I washed my hands, but obviously not well enough. When my fiancée registered sign got home from work she wanted to bang and I had to explain why that was a bad idea. Beating my meat with shampoo. I stuck my D in crazy. Unmanaged schizophrenia crazy. Never use sunscreen for lube. agreeing to a monogamous relationship with my second girlfriend. She had H cups. I just wanted to duck and bail, but I failed to duck out after. We were just too different for it to ever work. I wasted 8 months on that. I was an asshole. Nearly setting the kitchen on fire. Don't put something on the stove and think you can head upstairs for a quickie. The gas stove is quicker than you. Probably just become overly attached to people who didn't share the same feelings. Slept with a stalker on my birthday night out. She had been after me for months and basically blocked me for a year after. I know she did because I had a few female friends tell me she was warning girls off me saying we were dating. She also tried befriending my current girlfriend until I told her about her lol. Proper weirdo. Got into a car with a very drunk female driver and a dude. Both were at least 20 years my senior. Or when I slept with my ex's mum. Or when I got a BJ from a dude. I'm a straight guy. Till being uncut is a privilege. Playing late night truth or dare with a drunk girl and ending up ducking a watermelon. And later her. Using the melon juices and such as lube. Too sticky. I wanted to masturbate, but instead I started my menstruation when a glob of blood plopped out. I didn't know when my cycles were. Downloaded it tracking up the next day. Used an orange as a fleshlight. Did not work. Got malware on my computer. Have you met my kids? Jordan and Kaylin. Mayo. I had a drunken, sugar-fueled night with my best friend and her boyfriend. They asked me if I wanted to have a threesome. I couldn't really stand him, but I also hadn't had sex in a long time, so I went with it. Afterwards, he told everyone who would listen about that night. Sigh. When I started dating my boyfriend, he was living with his parents. His mother is the most religious woman I've ever met. She only had sex with her husband to have children. And never again. Anything NSFW is NSFMIL. I was over one day and the so and I were watching TV in his room. Things escalate. His mom will not accept us having the door closed. Which, okay, it's your house. I respect that. But he was 23 at the time. Grand idea. Go in the bathroom. Turn fan on. Welp. His mom comes looking for us to ask about dinner. We didn't know that until later. We hear a knock on the bathroom door. Also house dad asking about dinner. We tried to play it off like I was in the bedroom. But he obviously looked in there and this didn't buy it. Doesn't matter. Add 6. Putting I saw it on my D. Was with 2 friends. One of whom who was kinda into me but got really drunk and passed out. Ended up banging the other one. But now neither of them will talk to me and I feel bad. Put my thumb in my girlfriend's V. Just my thumb. I was driving down the highway high AF. And my girlfriend was giving me roadhead. I got distracted and missed my exit home. And it was like 4 to 5 AM. So I couldn't wait. I pulled the car over so I could duck her and finish the job. Once I came, I got back in my seat to start the car and the car wouldn't start. The male lady saw us and said she would go get help. And she brought 2 police with her. Me and my girlfriend end up in jail on felony drug charges. All because I couldn't hold out another 30 minutes. Good times, good times. My friend passed out. His girlfriend and I get to talking and she calls me a pussy and challenges me to wrestle her. It was a messy mix of grinding, choking and biting. She was pretty tough. No clothing was removed and we were both sore and sticky. I tried to date her years later but she said there was no way. Your mother coldly snaps. Had a long day on a construction site, a martial arts class after, and took a cute girl home after. The day work and workout was too much, and I fell asleep midway through. I explained and apologized, but it was my one shot. Never got another. Hit on a friendly acquaintance one night stand too aggressively on a subsequent occasion and put him off. Haven't had contact with him again. One that turned out fine but looked like the start of a horror movie in retrospect was driving to a neighboring state for a hookup at a guy's hunting lodge-esque home in the deep woods. It looked like the remote second location serial killers take their victims to. And the whole time I was at the door trying to get his attention, there were humongous spiders dropping out of the trees over the walk from his driveway. Sexting my ex-GF. Got too into it and sent a pic to an old boss. Never heard anything, but to this day I fear seeing him in public one day. Started an argument with my girlfriend. Used defeat as lube.